Our special guest is Danisa Perry. She's a psychologist and a filmmaker. She was born in Argentina. She graduated from NYU with a BA in psychology and a minor in film. Now, what she's been able to put together is this evolutionary new documentary film called Awaken, Soul to Soul. It's won a few awards, and it is impactful in the way that there is spiritual awakening that happens through a one-on-one direct experience in real time with 9 leading sages, healers, and teachers, one of which includes Barbara Marx Hubbard. So I can't wait to find it, because this concept is so, I don't want to say it's abstract, but I can't wrap my head around it right now on how this is. So thank goodness Danisa is here, because I would talk for the next 45 to 50 minutes trying to explain it, and I just big old fat couldn't. So Danisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So the first thing I have to ask you is, what is this concept? And then we'll get into how the ideas and things came to you. Explain it in, like, sometimes you have to talk to me like I'm 4, and I'm sorry about that, but what is this?
Okay, well, in a nutshell, it's basically taking spiritual cinema to the next level. I don't think that, film, the media in general, has really been tapped into in terms of its potential to elevate the consciousness of the viewer or the listener. You know how we're all energetic beings, and so is the video, camera, and actually the camera itself. And the camera is actually able to pick up the vibration of the person who's speaking. And so what happens is, what we've done with the film is we've shot all of the sages close up, looking straight through the lens of the camera at the viewer. And most of the sages are actually energetic healers. So when you're sitting in that way with the screen, you're actually picking up the energy, the healing vibration of the sage that's talking to you. The vision was actually to simulate the experience of sitting in a sage with a cave. People would, travel to the mountaintop to go to sit with a sage, not only to get their wisdom, but to get the energetic upliftment, to get the energetic healing from the sage, because that's even more profound than just the words that are imparted. So my original vision was to basically energetically uplift and heal the viewer. So I think that we've had enough feedback already from people who've seen it, that are sharing that they've actually experienced an altered state of awareness just by viewing the film in that way. So it's kind of cool. The film talks about the significance of this time period. It talks about humanity awakening, and at the same time offers the viewer the opportunity to experience that state of bliss, that state of oneness, as they're viewing the film, which I think is kind of cool.
Well, very much so, and I completely understand what you're talking about. I also am a Reiki master, and I know several exercises that I've done in the past are sitting face to face with somebody without muttering a word, just simply staring in the eyes, and doing that for 20, 25 minutes or so, which is no time at all. But the experiences that come through are absolutely amazing, the types of healing that can come just simply from that particular exercise. And that it sounds like that's just scrapping the surface of what it is that you're attempting to accomplish this. But you said that this has already gone out and it's already had a profound effect on those who have watched?
Yes. You can listen actually to other interviews that we've already had on our website, and viewers' experiences, and they're all, you need to be obviously open to it. I mean, if you're going to sit there, kind of like, this isn't going to do it, you need to be open to the experience, as if, you're sitting with somebody, a close friend or a lover. I mean, you need to be open to receiving their energy, to let it in and kind of, fly with that person. But if you're open to it, it really does transport you to an altered state of reality. It transports you basically to the experience of your soul. You know how they say that the eyes are the road to the soul? So when we gaze into each other's eyes, you're actually connecting at that level of your higher self. And at that higher self, the experience from that consciousness is the oneness. So basically, that's what we're tapping into. the ability to elevate each other through that one-on-one eye contact, the gazing.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I've just not seen it done on film before. And yeah, you can't just be munching on your popcorn and eating your milk duds and trying to watch the movie, I think, at the same time. How so tell me then, how did this vision start for you? Obviously something profoundly affected you early on in your life that the vision started, and then what kind of happened that you decided to put all of this on film, or how did that inspire you?
Well, as you mentioned, in college I had studied film and psychology, and back then I wasn't spiritual, quote unquote. I mean, I was, but I didn't know it. And at the time, my vision was to film Psychologist one-on-one, from the perspective of the patient. I'm like, if you can document this in the amount of time it takes to heal one person, you can heal thousands of people by filming the session. I mean, from the perspective of the viewer, of the person who's receiving the counseling, the healing from the therapist. And then as I got older, I got more into my own spiritual journey, and actually I began my journey with author Don Miguel Ruiz, which is a shaman, back in the early 90s, before he was even well known. And just by hanging out with him, just by being in his presence, I realized that I was, moving into altered states just by standing next to him. So I realized that there was beyond his teachings. It was an energetic that was, that he was imparting, that just being in his presence made you fly. Then I got it just clicked that, wow, if you can film the stages in the way that I had originally envisioned to film the therapist, you can actually create that altered state, for the viewer. So that was my inspiration.
Wow. And you're so right on. I mean, it's all, I don't want to say it's very Zen-like, but Zen is so far what I have discovered is the quickest path to all of that. But no words. If we could give workshops, they're not real popular nowadays to give workshops without saying anything. But one day it would be great to have a workshop where you just didn't say anything, because like you said, there's so much healing that comes just from being in each other's presence, especially somebody who is a healer. So then how did you put together the people who, first, let's do a rundown of who all is in the show, and then how did you get them to be on board? I wouldn't think it would be too hard, because the idea is that's it. The truth is really, I mean, I think that they would be completely on board, but I may be wrong.
Well, let's see. So as a recapping, as you mentioned, it's featuring Barbara Marx Hubbard, John Major Jenkins, which, as you know, is an expert in the Mayan prophecies, Robert Thurman from the House of Tibet, Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of the Four Agreements, and Sri Sri Ravi Shankar from the Art of Living. And in addition to that, we have other not so well-known shaman, lamas, and other spiritual teachers that are also all imparting the same information about humanity awakening at this time. And what we need to, how we can, the journey of awakening. In other words, about once we kind of go beyond the ego, we enter the higher self, and at that state, we enter the oneness, which is actually what happens while you watch the film. So, as I said, it's not just talking about the process of awakening. It's actually, the film takes you on a journey beyond the separated ego into the oneness of your soul.
Which is the ultimate form of healing.
Exactly, which is the ultimate realization, which is what we're actually trying to do here. This is why we all came to re-experience our own bliss.
Absolutely. Who have you found, or and I don't know if it's an appropriate question, because obviously the talents and amazing healing abilities with everyone who's in the film, have you found one for you personally, maybe, that has affected you more so, or which is one of these your personal teacher or somebody that you've followed?
Well, yeah, during the process of making the film, I became close with all of the people that were interviewed, but the
Sure.
three of the ones that I became closest to was Master Shaman Bonnie Saratori, William Linville, and Rita I had worked with when I was studying with Don Miguel, so she was an old friend. But I think personally, I have a very strong connection with Bonnie from many past lives, and she actually was very instrumental in my own evolution during the process of the film.
Nice. And did
Yeah.
they all just, I mean, did they just get it immediately, or was it a bit of a struggle to get everyone to come on board?
It was a struggle. I mean, the ones that I mentioned got it immediately. I just said I'm doing this film, and it depends on how attuned you are, how psychic you are. But they all saw, the vision, and then others were, a little bit, difficult. I would say that, but ultimately, whoever agreed to be on board on some level, they knew that this was, they were meant to be on it. So it was kind of like a soul agreement to be on the film,
Yeah.
because everybody ultimately has the same intention to help humanity awaken.
Well, of course. And is there a reason why you chose nine, or did nine develop into that, or did you have more and had to whittle it down, or...
Yeah, no, I mean, it just developed into that. And I was, like I said, I was just shown that whoever agreed to be on it was meant to be on it. It's kind of like trusting spirit kind of guiding me to the people that needed to be on board.
Very nice. How long has this film been out?
It's been officially been out now. December 21st was our launch date.
And how did that go?
December 21st, 2012. It went well. It's just starting. It's basically only been up for like 2 or 3 weeks. So really appreciate you having me on the radio and letting people know we're here.
Oh, absolutely. And they can visit your website at awakenthefilm.com, and then they can host screenings as well. Is that right?
Yes, they can host screenings, and the actual website's awakensoultosoul.com, the same of the film.
Okay.
Awakensoultosoul.com. Yes, they can host their own screenings. We've also got an amazing world music CD that accompanies the film called Cave, that's got world music from all the different spiritual backgrounds. It's kind of like Buddha bar kind of feel to it. So, we've got Indian sitar, Hopis, chanting, kind of like sacred spirit. We have all the North American shaman, South American shaman, South American flute music. So it's a nice mix of music, spiritual music with a group you can dance to. And in addition to that, we're going to be releasing meditations by each of the teachers that take you even further on your journey. So again, it's all about experiencing the oneness firsthand, not as a concept.
Have you noticed that with this film that it helps to have been on some type of a journey prior to this, or can you, not knowing anything, just wanting to delve into something to try to search for that, soul purpose? Seems like everybody has this search. Do you think that somebody could sit down and understand the concept of this?
Well, again, it's not about understanding the concept. It's about experiencing. It's an energetic. So all you need to do is be open to kind of relax and take it in, So, yeah, that was the idea, is to expose as many people as possible to their own spirit, to their own essence, because we are that. It's just about getting beyond the fear, getting beyond the ego, getting beyond the mind, and allowing that blissful energy to, to go through you, to experience that. So everybody potentially can experience it. It's just about wanting to and being open to it.
I just think in my experience, I've noticed a lot of resistance in people. They can't get their mind out of the way. And sometimes you can't just say, well, experience it, because a lot of times they don't understand what you mean by that. You know what I mean? Like their heads just get too much in the way to just completely let go of the thinking. But I believe, or the way it feels to me, is that the way the concept is, the way the movie is, when you're kind of staring eye to eye, that maybe that type of energy coming from the healer would just kind of influence the person, and maybe some of the resistance would just kind of dissolve.
Well, it's interesting because people experience it differently based on how they're coming into it. And I've heard also from some people that they got more out of it like the second time, because they were more like, okay, at first they were a little bit more resistant because it was so new and kind of intimate, and they're not used to being kind of, gazed at in that intense, intimate way. But once they got through it, and then they're like, wow, this is pretty cool. They saw it again, and they were like, oh my God. And they started, going into altered states and experiencing all kind of movement and stuff. So again, it depends on how open you are when you sit with it. And if you find that you're resisting it, or, emotions or whatever come up, it's okay. It's being, there's like a purging that happens. It's, what do you call it? It's transformational. It takes you on a journey. So again, depending on where you are when you sit with it, it's going to take you where you need to go, to reach that state.
Right. And some people, I think, are a little bit self-conscious too, and sitting in a whole room full of people or a theater full of people might cause them to, kind of close up a little bit too. So, go
ahead.
In my experience, I was just going to say, with that many people, you get the release times that many. So it can be even more powerful, I think, with everybody releasing at the same time. But again, if people could just understand, you don't need to be self-conscious. Everybody is there for the same thing and going probably through the exact same things that you are.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we originally visioned it, like to have it, something that you can view on your computer, on your TV at home, in the intimacy of your loved ones, your close friends, or even on your own. If you don't, some men, obviously, not that I'm judging, have issues with other people seeing them get emotional and stuff. This is something you can put on your laptop, close the door and, go through whatever emotions need to come out, in the privacy of your home. So that's what I'm seeing. And even some people are kind of like resistant to even seeing a therapist, or resistant to going to see a shaman or sit with a lama or whatever. And this way they can experience that, like I said, in the comfort of their home and kind of taste what that feels like,
Exactly. And I, like you said, I think they'd have to watch it more than obviously one time. There's something they can keep. They could use that as their meditation time and such. How long is the movie?
It's 90 minutes, and actually, I've heard that from people already that, for example, they've had a hard day, or they're going through a difficult time, and they plug it in just to reconnect, just to feel better. And that was the original vision too, like a tool, and you didn't even have to watch the whole 90-minute film. You can just turn it on for 10 minutes and get back, back to center, back to that feeling of peace and oneness,
That's amazing. So when did this journey start for you, for your personal development? It seems like, you could tell that, like you were talking about, that you had many lifetimes with one of the healers in the film, and you could definitely tell that this isn't your first barbecue, and you've been around for a long time, but this just feels like such an elevated journey that you're just kind of flying through. So has it been just since you were a little girl, or did you have some kind of an awakening, just early on in life?
I don't know. Well, talking about the other speaker that was on before me was talking about her being a Capricorn. I'm actually Aquarius. So I guess I was, talking about since I was little, I've always wanted to do something to help humanity. And it wasn't just like, oh, I have to help. It's just like, I guess most Aquarians have that. That's our nature. We want to do something to help, the masses or whatever. So, yeah, since I was little, I always kind of felt like, what's wrong with this picture? Why is everybody so, where's the love? Where's the joy kind of thing? So, yeah, since I was little, I always wanted to do something to help people re-experience, how life should be, full of love and oneness and, caring and all that good stuff,
Absolutely. And then this is, when did you decide to finally start being a filmmaker and start going into that type of field?
Well, like I said, I had studied filmmaking in college. So since I was in my, early 20s, I wanted to make films to help people, But this particular film, we started filming it 6 years ago, in 2006.
And have you made any other documentaries or shows prior to this?
This is my first one.
Oh, man, it's explosive for your first one. That's crazy.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Again, maybe that's just that part of the trait, but there's just nothing like, going straight to the deep end and diving in.
Exactly. Oh, I figured, hey, might as well make a feature. I don't know. I kind of feel like, there's really no more time. And I figured, I got one shot, might as well, make the best of it, so to speak,
Well, and especially I love your release date. I mean, that's a given, isn't it? To release it on the day that you did, and that is the beginning. That is a discovery. That is, the beginning, and that's exactly what we're doing. So this film is really, I think, kind of encapsulated that, and not just about what it is that we're going through, and being nicer to one another, that type of thing. But you were born in Argentina, is that correct?
Yes.
And then when did you come over here to the United States?
This one I was like 1, so even
Oh, okay.
yeah, very, very independent. No, just kidding. Yeah. So
your parents put you on a plane and shipped you off, and
exactly.
they knew you were going to make it. So
Right. I don't know, man. It's like, okay, I got my diapers. Let's go.
That's what else do you need really when you're a baby, right? Got my diapers, and that's pretty much all I need. That's
right.
What a crazy. I mean, it's just a crazy story because it just seems and already feels, I guess, so popular, and like it is hitting the ground running here. And I don't think you're having a hard time at all showing this to places. Are you going to be in any film festivals or anything?
I don't have any film festivals coming up in the works. But like I said, the idea originally was that have people view it online. So that's my intention.
So they can go. What do they buy to download it or something, or buy to stream it?
Yeah, you can VOD it, or you can buy the DVD or the CD. Download the CD.
Gotcha. And then what do you think? They were in a spiritual type of genre. Do you think that this film defines its own genre?
Yes. That's what we're talking about with my friends. It's basically breaks the mold and creates a new genre. What I've been calling it is activation media. So because it's being, it allows you to activate the viewer through media, to activate the consciousness, to activate the viewer on a cellular level.
Right. What?
And I'm hoping that this will inspire other people to do similar kind of stuff with film, because
of course. I mean, any idea like that is going to inspire and launch other creative ideas. You can't help but, especially when you're coming just right from the flow. I mean, if somebody can go watch Rocky and be inspired to create, some other types of movies from that, this is going to, I think, inspire. It's like you said, it's launching a whole new genre. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to get inspired from this. What are your plans with this now? So I know you're just kind of getting on the ground, but you obviously have visions for this and where you'd like it to end up. And I think, obviously it consumes you, but isn't this just one brick in the whole, you know what I mean? Like already ideas maybe coming to you of doing other projects and such like this?
Yeah, of course. Yes. I mean, on some level, I'm hoping that this is the beginning, of where this is going to take us, because it's about humanity awakening. And in addition to this film, I've already got, like I said, the meditations are already filmed, so they're going to be coming out in March. And the meditations, take you even on a further level. I mean, really, we're talking about profound healing that these people are able to take you through. In terms of, let's say, we're doing healing, the emotional body. So we bring in the spirit of your mom and dad, do the core emotional stuff, DNA activation, Buddhist meditation, and compassion, breath work, whatever it takes to kind of peel back the layers and the hurt, and the dark energies, and reconnect with the light of our essence. That's basically the intention. And to offer this as a tool for people, get it out there to people who can't afford to take the plane to Tibet,
and climb up a mountain and have a heart attack while you're trying to get to the cave.
Exactly. Or that say, hey, I got issues from my childhood that, I don't know of a good therapist, or I don't know of a good healer, and just to be able to, download the thing and get the healing online. I mean, I think that would be really cool.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a short break here in just a few moments. And then when we come back, maybe there's some tips or tools for us that you can give to us about how best to use this tool, or, watching each individual person. Do we start with one sage more than another, or do we just watch all at once? I mean, which I think can be very overwhelming. And sometimes maybe you have to go through a few before you finally start to open up. But either way, we'll mention some of those, and then we'll talk more here after the break, but it's just going to be a real short break. So everyone who's listening, stay with us. Danisa Perry talking about this I must say brand new, but it's so watery. It's an amazing, impactful documentary that we're going to talk more about right after this. Stay with us.
A new era in psychic services has begun. PsychicAccess.com. You can connect with our psychic advisors by telephone or chat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All of our psychic advisors are interviewed, fully verified, and accuracy tested, assuring you quality service. We're living in some very troubled times right now. More and more, the world's problems are affecting us on a personal level. You don't have to deal with this alone. Our highly accurate psychics, caring advisors, and talented mediums can help with situations you are currently experiencing and can let you know what the future may hold for you. All new customers get a free 6-minute reading. All you have to do is register. Why not visit us now and get a free reading at PsychicAccess.com.
And welcome back, everyone, to Psychic Access Talk Radio. I'm Bobby Marcheso, your host for this evening, even though we have our other co-hosts, Maureen, Brenda, and Steve. And we will be getting to our phone calls and things like that here after our interview, but please don't call just yet, so please wait a little bit before that happens. My guest tonight is Danisa Perry, who's a psychologist and a filmmaker who has... Well, I guess I'll find out, but I'm going to throw it out there right off, who has come up with this concept of Awaken Soul to Soul, which is the name of the documentary, and it's a one-on-one direct experience, experiencing the essence, the core of who it is that we actually are. I've always said that what you think you are is merely a perception. It's just thoughts. If you go beyond that, then it is an incredible experience. You get actually into the flow and what it is, the core essence of who you are. And this film aims to do that and help you with that by virtually sitting in front of 9 different types of healers and I guess, are there mystics involved? I want to say like healers and mystics, but it's kind of sages, isn't it? And teachers and things like that, Danisa?
Yeah, well, it's all of the above.
All of I like that. All of the above.
Yes.
Did you come up with this idea yourself, or was it you and some friends? I mean, you have a partner in all of this. I don't want to leave him out of this.
Yeah, no, it was my idea.
That's crazy, and I love that. It just seems so easy, but at the same time, I can't just picture you waking up in the morning going, maybe we should do this.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's my calling. I feel like that's basically why I came, to do this. So it's very strong. My desire is very strong to help people in this way.
Well, apparently, and a lot of people have, I think, desires to help the world in this way, but they don't know where to start or how to do it. And I'm in total agreement. I love doing groups of audience members rather than just one person. I enjoy the one person, but there's nothing like reaching out to so many people. And since you guys just kind of got off the ground, I know it's hard to say where you're at right now, but is this being shown worldwide?
Yes. I mean, through the internet, anybody could see it around the world. We're already getting hits from all over.
Nice.
Yeah.
And are there plans already for a number 2?
Yeah, the number 2, like I said, the next step is to get the meditations out, which should be coming out in the next couple months. And after that, yes, there are hopefully other films coming out in addition to this on different topics, all about, why we're here and delving into our purpose,
I would think that, so the meditations are going to be more like companion to this movie, or can they stand on their own?
They can stand on their own, but they're supplemental. But it's featuring each of the teachers in the film. So Barbara's got her own meditation. Don Miguel's got his own meditation. Each of the teachers have their own meditation, which runs around half an hour, 45 minutes. And it's just one-on-one with them. So literally, it's like just sitting with them. Okay, let's do this. They guide you through that. They guide you through the process.
How do you think? How have you found? And obviously, you had to screen this, prior to the launch date. I would think, with yourself or whoever. I don't want to say test subjects, but you know what I mean, test audiences and such to maybe watch some of this. But how do you find is the best way to watch this, or who did you decide to put first? You know what I mean? Like it kind of gradually eases into it, or is it just like you and your personality, where it's just bam, here it is, and just start watching it? And I mean that, of course, in the best way, because that is so awesome. Just to have no fear, I love that.
Thank you. No, I mean it was the order was thought out in terms of literally like it takes you through a process. So the teachers are kind of like take your hand and kind of walk you through it. So it starts more like on the mental level. It's like, okay, this is what's happening planetarily. It's all about awakening, blah, blah. Then we talk about, why this time period is so important, why the energy is so intense now. And then, they take you into the shamanic world about, so it's basically a journey that they basically take your hand and take you on. And between the interviews, we have the opportunity to kind of fly through nature, through the mountains, through the deserts, over the oceans, over the snow-capped mountains, whatever it takes to kind of take you even further into the essence of the sage that's speaking. So, in other words, the nature that surrounds you during each interview kind of like embodies the essence and of the sage that's speaking, and the music that accompanies the film, which is featured in our CD Cave, also takes you into that. So it's a combination of the energy, the visuals, and the music that takes you into that state.
It definitely helps. A lot of people, some newer people to meditation find that a combination of everything, like you said, especially the music and the visuals, that's very impactful as it is. But to actually have one of these sages do their meditations and walk you through is, again, it's just brilliant. I can't understand how that wouldn't start to impact a person within 10 minutes of just starting to see the film.
Yes, and that's what we've experienced. People say, oh my God, they realize like after like 5 minutes how completely different it is. I'm like, whoa, something's happening here, So it's kind of cool.
What, I'm just seeing like public panels and everybody getting together. I mean, I'm sure it was tough enough getting them to come together for the film, let alone, maybe getting everybody as a panel on stage or something. But I mean, publicity wise, people I think they would come from all over the place just to see these, not only the film, but obviously to see these people and to hear you explain it. And I mean, there's just such a draw. It just has such a different feeling from all of this. Is there anything that you have planned like that coming up at workshops or seminars about that?
Yeah, for sure. Workshops and seminars are key, and they're very much a part of my vision. So it's not just about the film and the meditations, but it's also about allowing people to come in and experience these sages firsthand, and experience their healing energies firsthand. Because, it's obviously intense also when you're actually in the physical presence of them as well.
Right. Amazing. I love it. I just love the whole concept of this, and it just seems like it's got nowhere to go but up. You know what I mean? There's just complete expansion from putting this out there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, tell me about your partner now. I don't want to mispronounce the name, but you also have, I mean, it's yourself, and this is done through a particular production company, correct?
Yes, our company is called Guru Rendezvous Films, and my partner is called Pablo Diaco.
Okay. And then what is his background? Where does he come from, and how did he get involved in all of this?
He's also Argentinian, and his background was also in film in Argentina, and he was fundamental in terms of the editing of the film.
Okay.
So he was the one to be able to like take my vision and kind of run with it, and and help us create the film. So it's kind of like a joint, effort here.
What was the feeling, when you guys were actually filming this, the behind the scenes type of thing? What was that like? Did you experience, I mean, they're just, these people, obviously, Barbara Marx Hubbard and such, like you said, just being in their energy while they're there. I can't even imagine the day of filming because, they have to be in their flow while they're doing this.
Yeah,
what was that like behind the scenes?
Well, it's interesting. Actually, when we were filming Barbara, she shared with me that 10 years prior to filming her, her guidance told her that she would be filmed in a way that, let me see if I can remember exact wording. She would be filmed in a way that her essence would be uplifting humanity or something like that. And while I was filming her, it just hit her that she suddenly remembered that her guidance told her this, that this is what she would be moving into, and that's actually inspired her to do this thing, the event Birth 2012, and a lot of the clips that are filmed there are shot in a similar way that I filmed her. But what's interesting is that her higher self knew that this is what she was meant to do, and she told me that this was her purpose. Her purpose was to communicate directly to humanity in this way, soul to soul. Isn't that interesting? So that kind of blew me away. It's like what I was talking about. It's like our souls kind of had this agreement. Our higher self knew that we had to come together and create this for people, And so when I would meet people, they would see, like people would say, "Hey, I was waiting for you." I mean, it's amazing. When I first met Bonnie, she said the same thing. She says, "I've been waiting for you." I'm like, "Really?" And it's kind of cool, I'm like, "Really, you've been waiting for this?" She's like, "Yeah, I was waiting for your call." And she also said that she knew that she was, meant to communicate to people in this way. And talking about behind the scenes, when I was filming Bonnie, because I was actually sitting in front of all the stages in this one-on-one way during the filming. And when I was interviewing Bonnie, suddenly she became pure light. Literally, she disappeared and she became like a ball of white light, and it was so powerful. It fell off the chair, and I had similar experiences also with William Linville, and a lot of the stages have that energy that kind of like literally blows past your mind. And I was like, man, I hope that the camera can pick this up, and I hope that people can experience this blast of light, because that's what I was picking up, and the camera was obviously picking up what I was viewing. So, and that's the experience, like I said, that our people are picking up. Or suddenly they kind of like they don't know where they are, and they literally leave the space of where they're viewing the film. They're transported.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a great journey just making the film. How wonderful that experience must have been.
Yeah. I feel like I was blessed that I was given the opportunity to do this.
I'm also a television host, and I had visions that you would call me, and you never did, Danisa.
Did you really?
Yeah, I'm still waiting. I'm just waiting by the phone. So anytime, really.
Okay.
What about? Did you notice, like, after the phenomena that you were talking about? Because I find that interesting. Again, some of the experiences that you're going through when you were making the film. So, as this person turning into light, did the camera pick up what you were hoping it would, or is it? It's got to be different when you're actually in person. But I know it translates very well onto film and through that type of media. But how did you find that what you experienced in person translated over to film?
I personally feel it when I view the film. I mean, it totally transports me. But like I didn't know whether other people would be feeling it too, and then I witnessed and I experienced that, and the feedback was like, oh my God, it did that. One actually other radio host was sharing that she was seeing sacred geometry while she was viewing the film, and that she was traveling and all that stuff. So the good news is that the feedback is that it works, So it's not just, luckily it's not just me,
Absolutely. So here's an interesting question then. Well, I've got two of them, but one that just popped up into my head. So.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be, I'm trying to be politically correct, but it's really difficult, isn't it, in today's world to be politically correct because somebody's going to get offended. But what about blind people? I would think, and I know that energy through our voice and tones and intonation carries huge amounts of healing energy. And so how do you find it translates, or have you even tampered with that particular field yet?
I haven't particularly, but I know that, like I said, the energy is beyond the visions. I've had experiences where people say the energy was so intense they had to close their eyes, and they literally experienced it with their eyes closed. I mean, it's beyond the visual. It's beyond the personality. It's beyond, you know what I'm saying? It's beyond this reality, literally.
Absolutely. Just the visual parts of it, like because that's what you're saying, each sage focusing in your eyes and staring that and going beyond. But I would think when they're in their lights, if you're blind, you're obviously your other senses heighten. And I would think you would still be able to pick up a dramatic sense of being beyond the human, the self aspect of everything, and being able to still experience the energy.
Yes, and my understanding of people who are blind is that they're even more sensitive. The other senses, like you said, become more acute, more intense, and so I'm sure that they'll feel it more than most people, will, because of their heightened sensitivity.
Absolutely. I mean, I completely agree with that. It would just be curious to talk with somebody who couldn't see that and see what their experiences are, because I'm betting that it's pretty much the same, again, just because of the energy gets carried on the audio waves like that.
Right.
Did you experience, now, again, being a Reiki master and just doing what I do, sometimes the energy gets really heightened. I have a lot of problems with electronics oftentimes. Computer starts acting up, my cell phone, little things like that. Did you have any of this phenomena that might have been happening when you guys were filming this? Were there any like battery drains or, anything else like that?
Yeah, actually with Will, a few times the camera, would say it was recording, and then we'd play it back, and it was all black, So that happened a few times with him because the energy was so intense, the camera couldn't pick it up. It was interesting. So I had to actually ask him, can you tone it down a little bit so we can capture this?
Oh my God, you have to tell this shamanistic sage, could you back off for just a little?
Yeah, just tone it down a teen so the camera can pick it up. Exactly.
Oh my God, that's so great. And see, that's why I'm saying I think that, I mean, I know each of these people are popular in their own right, but live seminars that do something like this would just to experience that particular energy that went into this film. There's different energies. Like when I teach my workshops, there's different energy that goes into a workshop than if I'm doing a particular healing. Do you see what I mean? And so the healing and intent that goes behind this movie has its own, space, and it would be great to experience something like that. And I think it would be very popular. I'm of course, I'm giving you all this advice. I'm just saying, I think it would be awesome to have public events like this. Yes,
for sure. That's the vision, is to get a room full of people, and that's what these people specialize in, energetic healing. They could literally get in, and I've witnessed this in workshops with these people, myself, specifically with Bonnie and Will. You can have like the vision is eventually have like 1,000 people in a room and doing energetic clearing and energetic healing on other people. That's what they do, that's their gift. And that's what you're receiving when you view the film. For you, or if you have a room full of 100 people, you're all going to get the same energetic healing.
Absolutely. That's why I again, it's always been my experience in not only taking workshops, but giving workshops, that the number of attendees, when one releases, all release. And it's however many times, however many, and it can be just so much more dramatic and powerful when you have that many people in a room experiencing all that simple flow.
Exactly. And I have memory of other times where that was basically how we spent the day. One person would have a vision, share with the group would elevate, somebody else would come back with another heightened state of awareness. You share that, and it's like we'd all go raising together. And I think that somehow has been lost. Our ability to elevate each other as a group. Now, thank God, through the internet and the computers and the films and all that, we have the ability now to literally uplift the masses in this way, energetically uplift each other, which is obviously my vision, and we have the ability to do that. It's just about letting people know we're here and, getting the love, getting the light, getting the upliftment out there.
And this opportunity did not exist 50 years ago, even sooner than that, before the internet, before Al Gore, Al Gore invented the internet, of course, and since before the 90s, you couldn't reach the masses.
Right, exactly.
In this particular way, and I think this time period is wonderful,
exactly.
Wonderful. Give me the web address now, so people can go tonight and download this and experience it. Correct?
Yeah, it's Awaken soul-to-soul.com.
And then please let her know feedback. And I mean, this is, I don't want to say it's still like a test pilot, but I mean, this is it. And I would think any information that you experience while you're watching this is going to be helpful. And I can't even tell you, it was a joy to experience you this evening. And I really appreciate you coming on the show. And I think we're trying to arrange for one of the other people who are either in the film to come on the show as well in a few weeks. And we can talk more about it from there. I can't wait for that to talk about it more from their perspective as well. But thank you so much for sharing all that you have. And again, this is pretty brilliant on your hands. It's a pretty bright light. Don't it's amazing. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Bobby, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, Danisa. And please just take care and Godspeed. So yeah, we'll talk to you another time, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Res Miranda. If you're having relationship, career, or life issues, I'm inviting you to experience what it's like to have access to professional, highly accurate psychics and spiritual advisors you can trust to care and help you. Register now to get your free 6-minute reading by telephone or chat. Get answers, get access, psychic access, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. PsychicAccess.com.
Our special guest is Danisa Perry. She's a psychologist and a filmmaker. She was born in Argentina. She graduated from NYU with a BA in psychology and a minor in film. Now what she's been able to put together is this evolutionary new documentary film called Awaken, Soul to Soul. It's won a few awards, and it is impactful in the way that there is spiritual awakening that happens through a one-on-one direct experience in real time with 9 leading sages, healers, and teachers, one of which includes Barbara Marx Hubbard. So I can't wait to find it, because this concept is so, I don't want to say it's abstract, but I can't wrap my head around it right now on how this is. So thank goodness Danisa is here, because I would talk for the next 45 to 50 minutes trying to explain it, and I just big old fat couldn't. So Danisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So the first thing I have to ask you is, what is this concept? And then we'll get into how the ideas and things came to you. Explain it in sometimes you have to talk to me like I'm 4, and I'm sorry about that. But what is this?
Okay, well, in a nutshell, it's basically taking spiritual cinema to the next level. I don't think that film, the media in general, has really been tapped into in terms of its potential to elevate the consciousness of the viewer or the listener. You know how we're all energetic beings, and so is the video camera, and actually the camera itself. And the camera is actually able to pick up the vibration of of the person who's speaking. And so what happens is what we've done with the film is we've shot all of the sages close up, looking straight through the lens of the camera at the viewer. And most of the sages are actually energetic healers. So when you're sitting in that way with the screen, you're actually picking up the energy, the healing vibration of the sage that's talking to you. The vision was actually to simulate the experience of sitting in a sage with a cave. People would, travel to the mountaintop to go to sit with a sage, not only to get their wisdom, but to get the energetic upliftment, to get the energetic healing from the sage. Because that's even more profound than just the words that are imparted. So my original vision was to basically energetically uplift and heal the viewer. So I think that we've had enough feedback already from people who've seen it that are sharing that they've actually experienced an altered state of awareness just by viewing the film in that way. So it's kind of cool. The film talks about the significance of this time period. It talks about humanity awakening, and at the same time offers the viewer the opportunity to experience that state of bliss, that state of oneness, as they're viewing the film, which I think is kind of cool.
Well, very much so, and I completely understand what you're talking about. I also am a Reiki master, and I know several exercises that I've done in the past are sitting face to face with somebody without muttering a word, just simply staring in the eyes, and doing that for 20-25 minutes or so, which is no time at all. But the experiences that come through are absolutely amazing, the types of healing that can come just simply from that particular exercise. And that it sounds like that's just scrapping the surface of what it is that you're attempting to accomplish this. But you said that this has already gone out and it's already had a profound effect on those who have watched?
Yes. You can listen actually to other interviews that we've already had on our website and viewers' experiences, and they're all, you need to be obviously open to it. I mean, if you're going to sit there, kind of like, this isn't going to do it, you need to be open to the experience as if, you're sitting with somebody, a close friend or a lover. I mean, you need to be open to receiving their energy, to let it in and kind of, fly with that person. But if you're open to it, it really does transport you to an altered state of reality. It transports you basically to the experience of your soul. You know how they say that the eyes are the road to the soul? So when we gaze into each other's eyes, you're actually connecting at that level of your higher self. And at that higher self, the experience from that consciousness is the oneness. So basically that's what we're tapping into. The ability to elevate each other through that one-on-one eye contact, the gazing.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I've just not seen it done on film before. And yeah, you can't